evening, and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Ace tonight, and with me is my lovely co-host, Rains Love. We'd like to welcome you to our little coffee shop, where tonight we're going to be talking about some things going on around the world. And we're also going to be discussing, oh my God, my purse has got a curse, what do I do?
I like that. Well, welcome everyone. We have the chat room open, so feel free to join us in our Psychic Coffee Shop chat room. And tonight we hope that you enjoy your experience and you're able to take with you valuable information, especially on this subject, because this comes up a lot for us, and knowledge to help you in your life. Tonight we will start the show, just as we always do, by taking a moment to clear our minds and light our candle of light to the world. As we light the candle, we send out pure white light to help all of you that are going through storms in your life. May this light lead you to safe harbor, to rest, and find your way through your troubles. So mote it be.
So mote it be. Well, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world today, and finally, Egypt has a president, and it's quite surprising that Morsi has begun working already, and he's not even taken his oath of office. He's immediately had to go into forming governments. Now, it was quite surprising because he was the Muslim Brotherhood's candidate and defeated the ex-president Ahim Shahi, and they're saying that he could be sworn in by the end of the month. However, the military council has taken many presidential powers and questions about his authority remains. What's your thoughts on this, Rainey?
Well, you know, first of all, the way we have to look at it, okay, is this country has elected this person to be their next president, okay?
Their first one, actually.
I know. Their first president, okay, and there actually are a lot of people who really do support this, and they're very, very excited, you know, if you've listened to any of them talking, you know, about this. And my thought is, you know, this is kind of a new experience for this country. So, you know, although, we might be sitting here going, well, maybe there's going to be a problem, maybe there's going to be issues here, you know, we should kind of step back and just allow them to go through the process, you know. And, you know, this is, first of all, they're going to have a new constitution. He's going to be focusing on the economy, security. Okay, these are going to be big issues, and this is going to be someone who's doing this for the first time. Okay, and this is what these people look at, you know, or many people, obviously because he was voted in, okay, are looking at this as an opportunity for change in the positive direction. I'm kind of excited to see what's going to come out of this. What do you think,
Me too. Well, you know, this really brings back history, because if we look at our country's history, you know, this is what happened. I mean, we didn't have the rioting and the big protests to get a president. But, you know, since he's taken that position, he's been acting a lot like George Washington had to act, you know, putting things into place, because they don't even currently have a parliament, much less a Congress. So there's a big question on who's going to be there looking at him when he takes his oath of office. Plus, there's other concerns, because you know, he rose from the ranks of the Muslim Brotherhood. He is Muslim. And this is a very hot topic, because out of the Muslim Brotherhood was where the big terrorist groups came out of. So now it's kind of like, okay, now what are we going to do? We now have a president that's been elected that, you know, came out of Al-Shadeed. And, you know, the word's escaping me now. You know, and he rose to those ranks, and then he became now president of Egypt. And where does that stand with the relations of Egypt and Israel? Because the Muslim Brotherhood doesn't recognize Egypt, not Israel, but they do but now he's going to have to recognize them as a country.
Yeah. there's going to be a lot of changes here, and there's going to be a lot of growth pains. And in all honesty, we have to sit back. We aren't here to change the world, okay? We have to sit back and let them go through this process. And, they're going to have growing pains, and there's going to be changes. And, even the fact that they've gotten to a point where they've had this election and they've chosen a first president, which is amazing in and of itself. I think that's wonderful, okay?
Right.
But, I'm sure that there are a lot of people who, because of the history in that area, with certain groups not being recognized, certain groups being tortured and killed, and the things that have happened, throughout history and even in recent times, it's kind of scary. So seeing what happens out of this is going to be interesting, to say the least.
Very much so, but, he's got to be walking on eggshells, because every country around here is looking for one shadow of a reason, one shadow of one discerning word, one move to something else, and, that area, the Middle East, has been trigger happy for years. But I really like this quote coming from him. As soon as he found it, he was declared the winner. There is no room now for language of confrontation.
Right. Let's see how that lays out, because in all honesty, that speaks volumes when you think about the history there.
Right. Because in general, for the past 20 years, they were ruled by a military leader that had the title of president, but he was never elected. This literally is their first elected president, and he's going to have some hard steps to take there, because they've got to get the economy moving. They've got to get, their linens back in process, because, Egyptian cotton is, top of the world, and that whole century, all that stuff has fell apart, and he's got to literally almost rebuild it from stone one up for government. So it'll be very interesting to watch his steps.
Yeah, and he also said that he would honor international treaties. This is, you want to have faith, okay?
Right.
Of course, everybody looks at the history. Okay, but you want to have faith. Just what's happened in this country is new. Okay, this is completely new from anything that's ever been done there.
Right.
It'll be very, very interesting to see what comes up here.
Well, I like how the Israel Minister, Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, said on Monday, "We expect to work together with the new administration on a basis of our peace treaties." That was very uplifting. That's almost like Israel going, okay, we're going to back you as much as we can, and we'll work with you as much, which is unusual, because Israel's prime minister is not a nice fella. They've got a lot of things going on there towards Israel, and he's always had to be a hard-nosed. But for him saying, let's work together, that's a big step forward.
Well, and it's going to be interesting to find out what happens, okay? But it also lets you know that this pretty much centuries, okay, of what's gone on there, with the different groups and fighting each other and torturing each other, and you have to know that these people are in a place where they're tired of the same old thing. You know what they say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. I know that's a simplified, view of this, but they have to be in a place, and, listening to people talk about this when you're watching it on TV, they're encouraged, they're hopeful.
Right.
They're wanting that change.
Right. And, what's even bad is, supposedly the Iranian semi-official Fars news agency said that Mr. Marshi planned to expand the relations with Iran to create a balance of pressure in the region, but Mr. Marshi's spokesman denied it vividly that the interview even took place. So, we got to watch our press that's coming out of there again, because, again, it's he said, she said, and someone shot the dog in the middle.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, this is definitely a watch see, but, I mean, we have to be concerned about anything global, because, of course, how does it affect us,
In every way.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, they're in a place where, people are wanting to come together and try to make a change.
Right.
So,
and I think if he does this right, and if he's able to form this government correctly, then things are going to be good there. And it'll be another democracy in that area. Mm-hmm. And he'll be, Egypt has always been one of those countries that has a voice, and they've always led things from the beginning. So with them going democratized, Israel will most likely follow, and hopefully Syria. Syria's in the middle of a civil war anyhow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But also talking about
whole other topic.
Whole other topic. But also talking about first steps, China has successfully completed its first manual docking at the International Space Station with another space module. Astronauts on the CZ-9 spacecraft docked with the Tiangong 1 lab model without relying on automatic systems. State television broadcasted an image of Jiadi Han Yinghua and a Chinese first female astronaut Li Yiyang smiling after
that's kind of cool.
smiling after the completion of the exercise. The docking is seen as a key step to building the space station, which China hopes to finish by 2020. So they've kind of took over, where America no longer has a active space program. China stepped up and said, we'll finish this. The manual docking procedure would have been used in the event of a failure with the automated system, so it's very important. And this is a major step for China, because they weren't part of the 60s space race. It was the U.S. and Russia. Well, now both countries have really lost that. The U.S. no longer has a space mission. SSR has a very limited space mission because they didn't carry into, as much as we did. So now China stepped up and done this. So it's going to be interesting to see what occurs above us.
Yeah, and this is also something that is very, very, this is patriotic pride for the Chinese state, okay?
Right.
And, there were things that, Russia, USSR, and the U.S., brought to and educated the world about, learned about. And it's like, almost as if you will, passing the flame. This is not something that we're as invested in as we used to be. And, China is doing some growing.
They're doing a lot of global growing. They're doing a lot of global reach out. Now, it'll be interesting because China's government changes once a decade, the position of power, and that occurs later this year to see how much more they continue their space missions. But what's even more interesting was it was a big news thing there what their first meal was in space.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Rice, pickled pork, barbecue sauce, and tea. Wow.
Yeah, but, it's interesting. The Chinese found that more interesting than manually docking with the International Space Station and adding another module to it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I find that interesting too. I can't imagine, a meal like that. But I have to wonder, because they do kind of have a fascination. Well, even with us, okay. the things that we do, I've felt that, although, they're very independent from us, there's a lot of things they adopt from us too. And, they get really, really excited with anything that, might appear new or, even in the past with us Americanized, even their music.
Right.
So I don't know if it relates to the food or not, because I don't know if I'd eat something like that, but I guess if it was my only option.
Well, from what I hear, they allow you to have your favorite foods when you're in space, so that's kind of good. But it'll be interesting to see where else China steps up and takes over in the world, because now they're the leading space program. They've very much supporting a lot of the international government's economies, so America, this grows concern to America to step up their stuff and to get back there, because I think it's very detrimental to our country to not have a space program.
Well, and I agree with you on that. Okay, there's a lot of areas where China is progressing, and even one of the things, and I think we even talked about, like Western and Eastern medicine. Okay, and ways to cure things, so to speak. I think that there's a lot of things even going on in that field. That we're going to see a lot of changes coming up with respect to China in the next several years as well. Of course, that brings us on to our next topic tonight, kinda.
Kinda. Well, Rain, how often do we get calls on this subject that we're discussing, like curses? At least 5 times a month I'm getting calls, and I'm going, no. What do you think?
Yeah. And we get calls about this. They either they truly believe that there's been a curse put on them. They've talked to somebody who said if you didn't pay them that much money, they were going to put a curse on them. Or how do I put a love curse on somebody? Well, I know Asen, has a lot more experience at this, than I do, but we kind of felt it was sort of important to kind of give a little bit of information about curses to people. And yes, it's always hard hearing the story of people that you've been told you have a curse on them. Or when is it really a curse, okay? When is it really a curse on their purse? There really no place in the world that a candle costs $1,500 or more. Nowhere.
Very true. Nowhere.
Yeah.
No candle is ever that amount of money. So truly that's why we decided to take a look at this subject, and purely from a perspective point of view. So let's look at the history of curses.
Well, yeah, and, first of all, okay, we want to mention the history, okay, because we feel it's important to know that, this is not something new age, okay, this has been going on for centuries, even dating back to biblical times. The use of curses has been practiced. In fact, I would even venture to say probably even before that, has been practiced in many cultures. And the most universal method of laying on a curse is by puppets, which is an image or a representation of a victim or the person who is wished to be harmed, so to speak. Wax effigies were common in the ancient India, Persia, Egypt, Africa, Europe, and currently these are still used. Also, puppets can be made of clay, wood, stuffed cloth, which is also called poppets, are often used. Also, poppets can be made of. They make them resemble a close. They're made to look like the victim. Okay, the more the victim will suffer. Okay, the closer they get to resembling them. Okay, and it's supposed to make the puppet more stronger, to be able to cause more harm or more destruction on this victim. And the theory behind the harming or destroying on the puppets to do harm to the victim is pure sympathetic magic. Also, the puppet is harmed, so the victim is harmed. Likewise, when the puppet is destroyed, so the victim dies.
The ancient Egypts also often used wax figurines as apes, a monster who was the energy of the sun. The magician would write the ape's name in green ink on the puppet and wrap it in new papyrus and throw it into the fire. As it burned, he kicked it with his left foot 4 times. The ashes of the puppet were mixed with the excrements and thrown into another fire. The Egyptians also left wax figurines in the tombs.
Wow. Well, like blessings, curses have universally been bought and sold throughout the centuries, with the exclusion of the neo-pagan witches. Witches and sorcerers throughout history have performed both blessings and curses as a service to others, because both are calling upon supernatural powers to effect a change. They've rendered these services to clients for fees or carrying out judicial sentences. Plato mentioned in the Republic, if anyone wishes to injure an enemy for a small fee, the sorcerers will bring harm on good or bad alike, binding the gods to serve their purposes by spells and curses.
Wax figurines were popular during the Middle Ages and Renaissance areas in Europe by numerous witches. King James I of England describes such activities in his book De Malingo in 1597. To some others these times he said he, the devil, tempted how to make pictures of wax or clay, that they may roast, therefore the person that they bear the name of may be consensually melted or die away by continual sickness.
Oh, gosh. Doesn't seem like you'd want to get on some of these people's bad list, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can bewitch and take the life of men or women by roasting of the pictures, as we spoke about before, which likewise is very possible to their master to perform, for although, well, and as we said before, that the instrument of wax has no virtue in that turn doing, yet may not very well, even by the same measure that his conjured slaves melt that wax in the fire. Okay? They would say this, several times, subtly to a spirit to weaken and scatter the spirits of life over the patient. This is... Do you know that much about this, Jason?
Yeah, I do. This is an old practice, and the quotes that we've been reading here is actually from that book. What they would normally do would inter the spirits to either sweat out the harmony of the body or to destroy it directly. Normally, deliberately, through the stoking of the fires, would consistently take one part and no good suck of another part, and lack the digestion of the other. He shall later vanish away, even in his picture will die in the fire. This was very much during the Black Plague, and this was probably part of the first rumors of the Black Plague, was that witches were about casting spells.
Right. There's also some alternatives to melting of puppets, okay? These have been to stick them with pins, thorns, or knives. Animal and human hearts have been used for substitutes. Hearts, animal corpses, or objects which quickly decompose, such as eggs, are buried in the ground with spells that the victim will die as the objects deteriorate. For example, in Ireland, cursing stones. These are stones that are stroked and turned to the left as the curse is recited, and it's been frequently claimed that gems and crystals possess the power to hold curses. The Hope Diamond, purchased by Louis XVI from Tavernier in 1668, is thought to be cursed because its owners have suffered illness, misfortune, and death.
And there's always the alleged mummy's curse on the tomb of Tutankhamun. It was discovered when the Earl of controversy.
It was discovered when the Earl of Carnarvon.
Yeah, and Harold Carter exhumed the Tutankhamun burial chambers in 1922. Legend has it that an archetypal ancient chambers, they found an inscription of clay tablets that read, "Death will slay with its wings whoever disturbs this place of rest of the Pharaoh." 6 months made.
Are you at a crossroads in your life? Or are you feeling stuck and not sure where to turn? We can help. Visit our website at psychic.biz from your computer, smartphone, or tablet, where you can get accurate readings and insight by speaking with any one of our tested advisors. We offer live chat, video sessions, one-on-one phone calls, and even email readings. We have several gifted psychics, tarot readers, astrologers, and other healers from around the world who are available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your initial chat is always free, and our psychics do offer special prices and low per-minute rates. Visit us today at psychic.biz and get the guidance you need today for your tomorrow.
6 months later,
Carnarvon died, of an infected mosquito bite. Even though 6 of the 7 principal members of the excavation team experienced strange or sudden deaths thought to have been the result of the curse, the tablet was never photographed and strangely disappeared from the artifacts. Bob Breyer, an American parapsychologist and Egyptologist, speculated the tablet never existed. In ancient Egyptian magic, Breyer notes that it's not typically Egyptian to write on clay tablets or to refer to death as having wings. Also, no other reliable source exists that cites the curse itself. And various legends abound, in the United Kingdom and Europe of curses laid upon families, especially those of aristocracy. One of the most horrible curses was that of childlessness or death to the heirs, to the family lineage, so that they died out. Let's look at some current uses of curses, Asen.
The word hex is sometimes sympathetic with curses. Among the Pennsylvania Dutch witches, hexes can be designed either for good or bad spells. Neo-pagan witches, some witches use the term hex to designate a binding spell, which others different from a curse.
Now, a curse is the expression of desire of harm to come to a particular person. Anyone can lay a curse on another person, but it's believed that the authority of the person who lays the curse on increases its potency and makes it more dangerous. Such persons are believed to be priestesses, or royalty, persons possessing magical skill, such as witches, sorcerers, magicians, and persons who have no other recourse to justice, such as a woman in many societies, the poor, the destitute, and the dying. Deathbed curses are the most potent, since all the curse's vital energy goes into the curse.
There are beliefs if the victim knows that he has been cursed or believes that he is doomed, that the curse is all more potent for the victim to help the cause of his own demise. However, Many witches and sorcerers claim that curses can be just as effective without the victim's knowledge of them. They further say that they would never let a victim know that the curse has been laid on him because then he might have another witch seek to get it removed. This happens.
Wow.
People's feeling that they have been cursed go to a witch or sorcerer, sometimes in ignorance that the same person who put the curse on them is to have the spell broken. If a witch or sorcerer has laid a curse on a person, then he makes an additional fee for taking it off. When two opposing witches or sorcerers are involved, a magic war might erupt to see who has stronger magical powers.
Wow. And in various traditions of the neo-pagan witchcraft, it's against the ethics and laws of the craft to lay curses. Most witches abide by this, thinking that the curse will return to the cursor in the same form as given. Although there are those that believe that cursing against one's enemies is justified. Witches from ethnic cultures, such as the Italian Striga and the Mexican Bruja, and branches of the Pennsylvania Dutch also believe that cursing is justified.
Just as many methods exist for breaking a curse as there are as many making them. If a magically charged object has been hidden in someone's dwelling, it may be discovered by divining or clairvoyancy and cinematically destroyed. Sometimes other banishing rituals and protection work is used to overpower the curse. Protective talismans and amulets are worn. Magical oils and washes can be used to attempt to lift the curse's effect. A major side effect in removing a curse is when the curse is broken, its energy can recoil on the person who cast it. And if said person has not taken appropriate precautions, she may end up receiving the entire effects intended for the cursed victim.
Wow. Traditionally, the most fortuitous time for laying on and breaking curses is during the waning of the moon. Let's look at a Swedish curse, for example, that still holds its power to this day. And this is the Borgtorp runestone. This is one of a group of runestones found in Blankage, Sweden, dating back to the 6th century A.D. And the stones measure up to 4.2 meters in height. Some of the stones appear in circles while others stand alone. And the Borgtorp stone bears the following inscription: I, master of the runes, conceal here runes of power. Insensantly, or plagued by, maleficence, or doomed to, insidious death is he who breaks the monument. I prophesy destruction, prophecy of destruction.
A local legend relates that the curse was once tested and proved. A very long time ago, a man wanted to remove the stones so as to get more land for cultivation. He piled wood around it in order to heat it up, then cracked it with water. The weather was dead calm and there was no wind. He just lit the fire when a sudden gust of wind turned in the direction of the flame, setting the man's hair on fire. He threw himself on the ground to extinguish it, but it spread to his clothing, and the poor man died in a terrifying array. However, the fire around the runestone was exhausted, as it was enormous hand had enveloped the stone and soothed the fire. So, how do you know if you have a curse? Before we analyze it, if we're being cursed, we need to look at the effects of a curse. To do this, let's divide the curse into two direct things: epic curses, or the stuff going wrong kind of curses, and targeted curses.
Okay. Well, let's look at the first type, which is the more common, and this is the entropy curses. They don't require elaborate rituals or much power to cast, and they can be easily cast by accident or by simply directing bad intentions. They're the sort of thing that you may suspect if you have a long run of very bad luck, or if a long, unlikely, unfortunate events occur. Of course, sometimes unfortunate events do occur just in life, and sometimes even in strings. So you look for a very extreme case before you want to consider that it may be a curse. If your house gets robbed one day, and then 2 days later all your pet fish die, and then the next day your favorite sneakers go missing, only to have your grandmother pass the next week, well, that's probably a curse. But do keep in mind, it doesn't have to be a curse. It could just be planned, unmagical, bad luck.
The second type of curses manifests itself in a more interesting way and usually require some pretty specific intentions on some power behind it to work. Targeted curses tend to occur in a specific way and do a specific sort of harm. Say you're dating someone, magically talented, and you split up and cheat on them, only to have your next 3 lovers be unfaithful to you. That would likely be a targeted curse. Or say you break up with someone, magically talented, in a bad or harsh way, and then they start experiencing heart problems. That is also potentially a targeted curse. Targeted curses involve rituals, power, and usually are related to the original problem. You break your lover's heart, so they're breaking yours, in the physical sense. Or you cheated on your lover, so all your lovers will cheat on you. It's important to note that they aren't always related to the original problem. Your injured lover could curse neoprene on you, and that is not too unusual as a case.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, meaning like, in general, they don't have to cause, just because you cut someone off doesn't mean that your next 5 accidents is because you cut off that person.
Yeah. Okay. But now, and I know we're going to go a little bit further into detail here, but you know me, I always got to bring in that opposite thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be, okay, instead of somebody actually putting a curse on you, that perhaps this is karma kind of like teaching you your lesson?
Very much so, and it could be karma being called early, if we want to look at it that way.
Oh. Okay. Karma gets called early? I didn't know that.
It can be, but let's move on, darling.
Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, it's important to understand the nature of a curse. Curses can happen easily as being cut off in tragic by a rude driver and directing bad intentions under your breath. I hope you get in an accident. That's definitely a form of cursing. And like all cursing, it's dangerous. The trickiest part of dealing with curses isn't breaking the curses. That part is usually straightforward, but rather detecting if or how we've been cursed. There are a few signs we want to look for to see if we've been cursed. And, the effects of a curse, okay? A person who wants to and is able to curse, and the artifacts of a curse. It's easy at times to blame unfortunate events on curses, but in assessing if we're cursed, it's important to remain as objective as possible. Jason, tell them how.
Targeted curses are generally easier to detect because they tend to be rhythmic style of cursing. If the targeted is a cheater and they find themselves being cheated on, well, that's a hint at a curse. Again, it definitely doesn't mean for sure that it's a curse, but it hints at it. Ectopical curses tend to be harder to detect. Bad luck can just be bad luck. When you're trying to track down an epitoped curse, you want to look really at the unlikely conditions bad run of luck you had. And also understand, it's not definitive, just a likelihood.
Well, the second key to discovering and determining a curse is to consider if we're likely to be the target of a curse. Wow, go figure, huh? Everyone has enemies, but we want to analyze if we have any enemies who are both able or friends who are able to perform such things. People who have to be able to cast magic in order to cast curses with significant power, or they have at least need to have some power in their veins. As practitioners, we have the ability to detect that, or we should anyway. We need to consider who is near us and who has that ability and power. It's important to consider motive as well. But we also need to consider that motives are complex, and we may not always be able to ascertain motive easily. The final key is discovering and detecting a curse is the presence of artifacts, both physical and magical. Casting a curse often involves either taking a personal possession of someone or placing something near where they are. When taking something, the more personal it is and the more charged it is with their energy, the more powerfully the curse will cling to them. If you feel you may have been targeted, look for something important that's missing. It may be a favorite piece of jewelry or watch or a cell phone, something that has a lot of emotional ties like a picture, or most importantly, a magical tool or stone, or even a charm.
Alternatively, the caster may have placed something near you. Ideally for them, it is near where you spend most of your time, like your bed or in your room. But more often it's in your yard. Look for something out of place. Oftentimes this is something iron, like nails, or something disgusting. A common curse involves a jar filled with bugs, bones, excrement, and nails. You're looking for something nasty.
Yeah. Well, magically, curses, leave artifacts, usually in the form of negative energy, that sounds negative, to those who are sufficiently sensitive. You may be able to feel this outright. Others will feel this in the sense of being watched or something nasty hanging around. Others may need the usual divinatory methods, such as a tarot reading, a scrying, or whatever else. What's a scrying?
Scrying is crystal ball reading, my dear, or water reading, or fire reading.
Oh.
If you have at least two key elements, then you're probably cursed, especially if the third proposed element. If you have all three, then you're definitely cursed. If you have one element, then you probably want to keep a lookout and consider other examples and explanations for what's occurring. Breaking a curse is often the most straightforward element of dealing with a curse. In order to flesh it out, how to break a curse, we must delve into the two informal categories. Given curses. A given curse is one which attacks the curse to an object and then gives it to the person, either directly or more commonly by hiding it in their yard. Most curses take this routine, such as hex bags, witch bottles, and other imported curses. To break this sort of curse,
well, first we got to locate the cursed object. Frequently, this is going to be buried, looking for the freshly dug ground or something that doesn't belong in the ground, such as a small bottle or a bag, or even objects such as nails. Next, while wearing gloves, a mask, and while working in a ventilated area, giving curses often involve fecal matter, rusty items, or other hazards. Open the object, remove any contents, physically clean all the objects, and then magically clean and purify everything. Ooh, got to look at that, don't we?
Yes.
So let's look at remote curses. Remote curses, these come from somebody from afar. Okay, a popular conception of these are voodoo dolls, even though entrapment curses, binding spells, and general bad energy are much more common forms. And despite the lack of physical objects to remove, remote curses are much easier to break. Any number of purification and shielding rituals will do, but one of the easiest is a ritual salt bath. Dry, warm bath. Stir in several ounces of sea salt or kosher salt. Ask for purification from your deity and slowly enter the bath. Soak thoroughly, then wash away all the salt water. Leaving any behind will cause the purification to fail. Get out. Thank your deity for the purification. The ritual is now complete. Couple with a good shielding of spell for best results. So you decided you've been cursed? Yep. Your ex is a high magical witch and also has a long line of gypsy blood. Well, they could be out for you, and you just found a bag full of who knows what under your house, so what now? Well, according to some well-known hoodoo practices, breaking any curse can be as simple. Well, I'm not going to say that, Ace. I'm going to let you say that.
Okay. Well, according to some well-known hoodoo practitioners, breaking any curse can be as simple as pissing on a brick. Or you can follow a simple recipe, get your pens and papers ready, and save yourself $1,450. And that's if you buy expensive candles.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of important, because I'm sure people go, I don't know if I have a curse or not, but let's look at this purification spell to break a curse. Asen, why don't you tell everybody about that?
This is a heavy-duty purification spell, so it's probably good to do it on a full moon, although a waning moon will suffice if you're in a pinch. Just before bed, light 13 candles, preferably white ones. Fill the tub with water, nice and hot, as hot as you can stand it, please. Add in a cup of sea salt, a table of sage, a tablespoon of lavender, and a tablespoon of chamomile. Turn off the water. Let the bath steep in the herbs. Kneel or sit in front of the tub and ready to get into the bath. And repeat this. What was done was done. Be it now undone. By the light of the full moon wane, cleanse my soul of talons and stains. Let now my hateful spell reverse, and lift me through this various curse. As I enter now this sacred space, return my spirit into grace. You'll want to repeat that 9 times. Enter the bath and let the water cleanse away any effects of the curse, using your hands gently, gathering up the water and pouring it 3 times 3 over your head. Each time you do, repeat, accept my apology for what was done. Despair my spell with morning sun. Remain in the bath until the water is cooled. Drain the tub and rinse off. Snuff the candles out. Go to sleep. By dawn, the curse will be broken, and you will once again find a feeling of blessedness that you lost.
Yeah. Now, Asen, okay, I know that you're a little bit more. I get questions like this all the time, but I know that you're a little bit more familiar with this. Kind of, what is your view when people call in and say that they feel that there's been a curse put on them?
Well, that's when I go through that psychic detective process of yes, no, maybe. But please understand, and I'm going to say this very cleanly and quietly, cursing nowadays is very rare.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Furthermore, it's very literally practiced small sected areas of religious practices. Often people are too not inept who pass proper curses, they're not inept in their studies or in their own abilities. So people aren't running around cursing people in general. Out of 1,000 cases that I've dealt with when they go, oh goodness, I've got a curse, normally they don't. And I love these when they go, oh, my family's been cursed for 300 years by a gypsy witch. No, because unless that bloodline has been maintained, which is very rare nowadays, meaning that, we'll take you for example, my dear. Rain has 2 lovely sons.
Yes.
She would have to train both her lovely sons in magic, and they would have to train their children, and their children would have to train their children. And it would have to have gone on for all that 400 years.
Which is not likely.
Which is very not likely, considering all the times that the people practicing that have went through pestilations, destructions, destroyances. Bloodlines have not been maintained, and very often have been watered down to begin with. So the first moment when someone says, oh, you've got a curse on you, you better step up and go, really? Define that. Where do you see it? Who cursed it? And when was it done? And then track back your bloodline to see if that even existed. Now.
Yeah, and, I think that's important because, there's a lot of people who really do believe and have actually been told that it's been passed down, for generations.
Right.
So you need to explain that to them, but isn't there something, that once that person passes on, if supposedly they had a curse, that curse no longer exists?
Well, it's actually the cursor that passes on. Example, let's get a little evil here. Stir up a little bit.
That's what I meant.
All right, we'll get a little evil here and let's stir up some dirt. Let's say me and Rain has a falling out, and I'm so pissed at her I decide to curse her. Well, that curse is only going to last, in effect, if untreated, till I die, because I currently have no blood children, and more likely, I probably won't train any blood children. So therefore, the bloodline, my bloodline, that has supposedly the energy behind the curse, would die. So therefore, the curse would die.
And we know your cats aren't going to be listening, because we can't keep them off your desk anyway,
always
right?
Listening. Yeah, I can't keep them off the desk anyhow. They're going to learn anyhow, but doubtful they'll live past I live, because most of my children are upward in age, and few of them have gone into their silver years, so it's doubtful they will be continuing the magical cauldron afterwards. However, back to what we were talking about. Likeliness of you being cursed is about as likely as anybody else being cursed. Not going to happen a lot of times. However, people cast curses and really don't mean to. Example, that we gave in the show. You're driving down the road, you get cut off by somebody. I hope you have an accident. Or that teenage child that is like 13, 14 years old and goes, I hate you, mother, I hope you die. Well, get out the bath salts. Your 13-year-old just cast a curse on you, by definition. A curse is nothing more than a very heavily empowered prayer for misfortune to happen. But that's also why, people are very particular over their things, very particular in knowing where their things are, and want to keep up with that.
So, really, probably the one thing that's most likely is people unintentionally actually casting curses.
Yeah. Well, less likely, but it does occur.
Yeah. So, now, let's bring that back to, and I don't know if it relates or not, but I think it kind of does, okay? Again, say, for example, somebody hurt you really bad, and then all of a sudden really bad things start happening to them. Is that because of, you unintentionally cursing them? Or is that because of the energy that you're putting out there?
Both.
And
because
if
both
so, do you really want to go there? Because you don't want it to come back and bite you.
Right. probably you don't want to go there because it will bite you.
Yeah.
Okay? Granted, there are more adept magicianal practitioners that has ways to make sure that it doesn't go back. But if you're just general studies, oh, I've been reading this for 30 years, I've been working these books for 30 years, stay out of the realm of curses, because you really don't want to deal with it. It creates a nice nasty. You don't want to be praying for somebody's death. You don't want to, just because your boyfriend broke up with you doesn't mean that you need to go and make sure that every girlfriend he gets is exactly like you and breaks his heart. But more so...
Why not?
Well, because it's never good magic, because that means that you yourself never have a fulfilling relationship. It's that balance of equality you have to keep, or that polarity going on there.
Okay.
However, the reason we went into as in-depth information as we did with this show is we wanted to stop, and I want to repeat this, stop this stupid behavior of these people who claim to have gypsy blood who don't.
Right.
Who claim to be witches who may or may not be initiated or not initiated. Going around and going, give me $3,000 and I'll remove the curse that was put on your grandmother.
Right.
Who causes you not to have children.
Right.
One, they can't do it from there. Example. As many of you know, me and Rain are a bi-coastal radio show. I'm in West Virginia, she's in Denver, and sometimes in California.
Yeah.
So I can't go, oh, Rain, I'll remove that curse on you that, your grandmother put on her because she told a gypsy to leave her home, to leave her land. It don't work that way. Okay? The work has to be with the person, and it has to be the person doing the work. And, people really... Well, go take a good shower and piss on a brick. And that's how I handle it. That's, because it's whatever cleanses the soul, or you see cleansing you, or destroying that negativity. That's just me personally. Now, Rain, we've had to work with, both of us have both worked with FBI going into these big, elaborate cases of going, look, this is what this lady went and done. Now she's out $6,000, $10,000 in a new car.
Right.
It never works that way. Should a magical practitioner be paid for some of their work? Most definitely. But there is no candle that costs $1,500.
Right.
Not even if it's the size of a house. There is no special candle out there. A candle is a candle. It can be made special, but still, it doesn't add up to that much. So, stop the crap.
Do you have burning questions you need answered? We all do. Visit our website at psychic.biz, where you can find accurate psychics, tarot readers, and astrologers from around the world who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can have your questions answered anonymously and right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. The introductory chat is always free, and we offer low per-minute rates and special promotions. Our online psychics offer helpful, practical guidance into what matters most to you. Visit us today at psychic.biz.
So, Asen, this means I can trust that when you decide to come in and kind of visit me in the middle of the night, and peek at my mirror to see how clean my house is, I don't have to worry about a curse?
No, not likely.
I'm sorry. Just had to go there.
Well, depending on how dirty my mirror is.
I thought it was mine. Yeah, and I think, and I agree with you, Asen, that was one of the reasons why we did talk about it, is because, for us it can be, it's, it can be, disheartening to have somebody call up and they're scared to death. Something's happened to them. Somebody's taken all their money, and they've ran out of money, and they've been threatened that if they don't pay more money, they're going to put a curse on them, and bad things are going to happen to their family. And
or the opposite. You know, oh,
right.
there's a curse on you. This is why you broke up with your boyfriend. This is why he's not talking to you. This is why you're having a bad time finding a job. You must give me $3,000, and I am the only one that can remove this curse because I have such and such bloodline.
Yeah, and don't talk to any other psychics because they're going to lie to you.
Right. They're just going to continue this bad magic. You know, there was one case in California that I worked on, and this woman had took this one for about $1.2 million because her granddaughter took her diamond ring, and the granddaughter put a curse on her. Okay, one, the diamond ring was in a safety deposit box and was never touched. Two, this charlatan, and I use that word lightly, I have other terms for people like that, but we're on air, and I try to be nice. Charlatan was being that, just a charlatan, and, you know, had to be contained and, you know, sent to a lovely concentration camp, also known as a prison, where I don't believe she'll be casting any more curses for a very, very long time. But are curses real? Yeah, they're real. You want to break one? Go find a brick. That's my point of view.
Or take a
what
good
about yours,
sea salt
Rain?
bath. I'd rather take the sea salt bath, but
you'd rather take a sea salt bath?
I just can't imagine myself doing that on a brick. Okay.
Okay.
But I know you would really enjoy it.
Not really, but you know, it's easy as that.
I guess I'm just too much of a girl, huh?
Well, you know, as a spiritual person and as a psychic reader yourself, you should be taking sea salt baths often to recharge your own energy,
yeah.
clear your own energy.
I'm not taking a sea salt bath. I'm mixing it in my shower gel. You betcha.
Yeah, and that's not because people are going to curse you. That's because we work in a lot of different energies. We change hands with a lot of energies.
Right.
We, you know, as readers, you're going to exchange energies with people, and you really want your own energy. You know, it's kind of like working in a coal mine. You don't want to come home and lay in your bed covered in coal syrup.
Right.
Enough said.
Right. Yeah, and it is important to keep yourself. I think it's important just to keep yourself, and I think it's important for everyone, but most especially, you know, especially if you're doing readings with people, to make sure that you keep your energy clear. Mm-hmm. Like when things start getting kind of you know it's kind of time to do something. Mm-hmm. Make sure you do it regularly. Besides that, sea salt's really good for your skin, too.
Yeah, it is. It helps in the
especially as you get older, because it helps to shrink up that loose skin.
Yes, especially Dead Sea salt. It's from the Dead Sea. I prefer to order mine through Azure Greens, but you can get it from some of those fancy skincare places.
And like Avana?
Yeah. You know, and, you know, it does wonderful for the skin. It is great for the skin, and it also tightens up your skin. That's why a lot of people don't look their age if they're readers. Although there's some of them, I just want to look and say, go take a sea salt bath. You really need some skin tightening up. But, you know, we always want to educate. We all, you know, that's always been the aim of the show, is to educate people on some of the stuff going on out there. And, yeah, this happens a lot of times in general. You know, we get people going, oh, we're cursed, you know, or, oh, yeah, you know, this witch spit at me, she's cursed me for life. No, she spit at you because she doesn't like you. She hasn't cursed you yet. Stay away from her.
Well, I think that's important, okay, and it still always comes back to the same thing, you know, putting out good energy, huh?
Very much so, and being particular on your energy. You know, you don't want to be, if you go and you get yourself in one of these workplaces and you get into that menage a crack of bad energy, talking bad about the boss, everything sucks, I hate work, you know, then, yeah, you're going to be putting out negative energy, and you really shouldn't.
And you don't want to do that with work. You don't want to do that with work.
Not with work. There's one very well documented case where this teacher was teaching high school, and she was trying to teach the children how words really impact people. So she had her students placed strategically throughout the hallway, and one of the other teachers walked down the hallway, and the first one said, "Oh, you look really tired. Are you feeling okay?" And the second one goes, "Oh, you're a little flushed and pale. Are you feeling okay?" Well, by the end of the time the poor teacher had got down to the end of her classroom, that girl had to go home sick. That's really how much the power of words have.
Right.
Towards anybody.
Right. And, that's just it. We don't realize the power that words have on others. Okay, and, that even goes back to, and it kind of reminds me a little bit where when you're talking to somebody who has been or is involved in a relationship where they're emotionally abused, they're not realizing that all those words that they're taking in all the time. They'll sit there and go, "I'm not worth anything, they're right, I'm really stupid, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this." And this is with children, this is even with adults, okay? They don't realize they're constantly taking in that information. And then they begin to become that and believe that.
Right. And act on that behavior, and then you're really in trouble.
Right.
Okay, because then you're cursing your own self, and that's bad enough.
Well, and that also makes you think, gee, maybe we should make sure that we're around positive people.
And doing positive things.
Doing positive things, uplifting others, and being around other people who uplift us, and removing ourselves from those who aren't willing to go there.
Well, not aren't willing to go there, but also going, you know what? You don't make me feel special anymore, so I ain't going to be around you. And, stopping that behavior, because if you're hurting your own self, well, you're hurting your own self.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break.
Do you have burning questions you need answered? We all do. Visit our website at psychic.biz where you can find accurate psychics, tarot readers, and astrologers from around the world who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can have your questions answered anonymously and right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. The introductory chat is always free, and we offer low per-minute rates and special promotions. Our online psychics offer helpful, practical guidance into what matters most to you. Visit us today at psychic.biz.
Well, we do have a couple in line. Lines are still open. If you'd like to call us, you can call 424-675-6825. And our first caller comes from area code 786.
Hello.
Hello, 786. Hi.
Yes, hello.
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm doing well, thank you. I haven't called your show in a while because my new work schedule,
Right.
But I enjoy
Who are we
listening.
speaking with?
My name is Gigi. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. My question tonight is going to be a relationship question. The last time I spoke to you guys was 6 months ago. I was fussing over some guy that was out of a relationship and wasn't ready. But I finally met someone that I've been dating for about a month now, give or take. And I was wondering what you saw and if his intentions were genuine. His name is John, and I was wondering what you saw between him and I.
Well, what's John's birthday and your birthday?
My birthday is July 22nd, 1985, and John's birthday is April 1st, 1980.
Okay. Well, what I do like about John first right off that I get here, with respect to him, I see him as being a person who takes loyalty to friends, relationships, family very, very seriously. Okay, so kind of like if you're in with the crowd, so to speak. Okay, sometimes I know that, he can come in a little bit strong, but I think it's because he takes it so seriously to take care of the things that are really important to him, which I think comes back to relationships, if you will. So I really like that energy about him. Have you found that that's something that you're kind of experiencing with him a little bit?
In the beginning, like the first, like, 2 times, he was really strong and so forward. It was just, like, as long as how he felt. He still is, but I guess now that I've opened up, maybe it's just me, now that I've opened up and I said, I like you and stuff like that, I think he didn't say it as much. So maybe I'm just being too much into things. I don't know.
I really kind of get a take that's more the relationship settling in, okay? You've kind of become part of the group, so to speak. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have special feelings for you, because I don't get that energy from him at all. Okay, I just think that's more, settling into the relationship, feeling more comfortable with it. Are you concerned about you two moving forward?
No, not really. It's pretty new. I just found it so. And actually I was doing that especially become monogamous for reasons. And he agreed. But I kind of just feel like he was genuine and he hasn't seen anyone else. I still knew, and I just and I haven't been in a relationship or dated anyone for a while, so I'm still kind of
Okay. I didn't hear that last part. Did you hear that, Asen? I apologize.
Honey, I'm barely able to hear her.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize about that. I was just saying I wanted to make sure he was genuine, because I haven't dated anyone in a while, so it's hard for me to read and to pick up, and I wanted to make sure I was the only person he was currently seeing.
Okay, in other words, you want to know if he's seeing somebody else, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I got that one. That's a very important question. I don't get that energy from him. Okay, I'm not getting that right off the bat. Okay, if it's not coming in, I'm not getting it, and I'm saying no. I do not see him seeing anybody else.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Do you see this being long term?
Actually, I do see this being long term. Okay, what I want you to consider is I really get a strong energy from him, that he is one of those, he likes to get, he likes to go, he likes to have aspirations and plans. Your best plan of action with him is to be a great encourager, which I know you can do, okay? Because that's kind of what makes him tick. And hey, if you're there almost being his little cheerleader, okay, that bodes very well for you in the relationship.
That's my personality, so that works well. I like it.
I know that's your personality. That's why I said I don't think it's a problem for you. Yeah, and he definitely needs that, which is one of the reasons why I do feel that you guys are connecting really well.
Okay, and then comes in lately, maybe it's just because you work 7 days a week. It seems to be moving not a little bit slower. Like tonight, I haven't heard from him. Should I be worried?
Yeah.
Or should I just go with it?
You're concerned about that?
A little bit.
Yeah. Don't be concerned about that. I'm actually not even surprised to hear he's working 7 days a week. I think if there were 8, he'd be working 8, okay? Tends to be his personality. I kind of tend to get from him that if he could take on 2 or 3 jobs to, make sure that he's putting everything together, he'd do it. Kind of part of who he is, okay? So doesn't surprise me a bit. And I wouldn't worry, because I don't think it's going to be, you're going to hear from him right away. I'm not worried about it. If you don't hear from him tonight, no big deal.
Okay. And should I let him take the lead with the relationship, because he works so much? I'm the one always like, okay, what about let's do this on this day? And it's just kind of like, and it's so hard. I'm trying to be patient, because I know he's looking for another job, but,
yeah.
I don't want to give him all the time.
He's the type of person that I really get a strong sense with that you want to keep a balance there, okay? You want to be too submissive, but you don't want to be too much of the leader here, Okay? So if you feel like you're putting out all the energy, and I know a lot of this has to do with his schedule, okay? He's busy, not because he's making the excuse just to be busy, okay, but because he is. What I would do is put a balance in there and just, kind of back up here a little bit, let him make the next lead here. He's one of those who I feel like you want to have that balance with. Don't be one or the other.
Gotcha. I think you're right. Awesome.
Because you'll notice when you do that, okay, you get more of an equal response level there in the relationship.
Okay. Okay, good.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Asen?
No, I think they're doing fine. I just feel like
I think they are
he's
too.
going to have to adapt to his lifestyle, which is a lot of work. He lives on work.
The thing about you that I get, though, okay, you kind of tend to have that energy anyway when you put your mind to it. Okay,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I do know you need to have that. Yeah, you need to have that downtime, that fun time. And, if you really need it and he's not able to get that, okay, incorporate spending that time with friends, okay, keeping yourself busy, loving yourself, fill your love bank if he can't be there all the time. This is going to be a guy who's going to be a workaholic. That's who he is.
Right, you can't change it, honey.
Yeah, but he'll make sure business is taken care of.
And he'll make sure you're provided for, which is the biggest importance there.
That's true. I know this is a silly question. I feel like I'm so back asking it, but he likes me, right?
Yeah, honey, he likes you, or he wouldn't be spending his valuable time with you.
Okay. Do you get what he just said about valuable time?
Because he has so little bit of it.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes for me, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, because he is busy and he is taking the time when he does have the time to do it. Okay? Yeah, he likes you.
Very
much so. Okay.
Wonderful. This is better than the last reading we had a few months ago when you guys were telling me I was being dumb and I did not want to listen. So this is good news.
Oh, yes, it is, honey. And you call us if you need us, okay?
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank
You're
you
welcome.
for calling in again.
Have a great evening.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
And I enjoy your show like always, you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. All right. Our next caller is 630.
Hello.
630.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Who's this?
My name is Brenda.
And how can we help you?
I would like to ask a question about my children. I guess I'm not sure exactly what to ask, but I've had a rough couple years with them, and they're at that age, and so I just would like to know what you guys think or know. Or
well, what's your birth date and what's their names and birth dates?
Okay, my birthday is 10/29/70.
Mhm.
And Megan's birthday is January 10th, 1995. And Ryan's birthday is May 16th, 1993.
Okay. Well, one of the first things that I kind of get from Megan here, and you're right, they're kind of at that age, and I think that has something to do with it, too. Okay, you have an energy about you that I feel like, you want the best for your kids, okay? And you're always trying to teach them the best and trying to give them the best and making sure that they get the tools that they need so they can go out there and be successful. And what I get from your daughter here, first thing is kind of like sometimes she does and doesn't take things so seriously, not in the same way that you do, okay? It's like if it's not a crisis, she sort of isn't looking at it as something that's necessarily needing to be done. I think she's going to be okay, but it's very, very different as far as her personality goes there. But don't think for 1 minute that she's not taking in the values, okay, the information that you're giving her, okay? It's just that at this moment, what I get from her is if she doesn't see it as really, really important, she just kind of puts it to the side there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I mean, we've been fighting for weeks, and matter of fact, she's not living here because we've been fighting so bad, and so we just.
And what does she seem to say the issue is for her?
What's that?
What does she seem to say the issue is for her?
You know, she doesn't really talk a lot. She just says that she just calls me names, you know, complains that I'm complaining and, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, if I tell her to, Yeah.
Well, and see, I think a lot, you know, and you're completely right when you say they're at that age here, okay? But what I get from her is, again, you know, she, at this point in time, doesn't take things as seriously as maybe you would like her to, or even as she should. Like I said, you know, she, you know, if there was a test coming up or something, okay, and they told her it was if they told her it was 2 weeks from now, you can be doggone good and sure she's going to wait till the night before, instead of, you know, being organized and getting ready. Okay, she's going to wait till the last minute. She's going to wait till it's crisis level because it's not really that important till then, you know. And you could tell her and tell her and tell her and explain all the reasons why, but she's just not going to get that. Kind of where her head's at right now.
Do you think we'll ever have a good relationship again? You know?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, just wait for the hormones to settle. That's going to take probably a year and a half before she grows up.
You know, plus also another thing that I also feel with her, okay, and this actually I feel ties into romantic relationship with her, okay. What I feel is she's going to have like a little hard knock on the head, okay, so to speak. Then she's going to realize, okay, I need, and I'm talking about her, she needs boundaries. She needs boundaries. She needs structure, okay, in order to keep things balanced in her life. And that's really going to come back to that ethic, okay, the things that you've taught her. Okay, and I feel like that's going to be an important part of you two coming back and connecting.
Okay. Well, with her relationships, she's chosen very badly. It's like she almost needs to be in a relationship for some reason, you know. I mean, her father was never in the picture, and I don't know if she's seeking something because of that or...
No, it's just a growing process.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, okay, and I do feel like this is something that she will be dealing with here. You know, this is kind of part of her life path here, that experience there. But what you're going through with her right now has to do with, it's growing pains.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Because she sees that as giving her status. That's the reason she's always wanting to be in a relationship, always wanting to have a relationship. Okay. I do feel, however, that, you know, she's going to get past that. I'd say probably within about 2 months, and she'll leave that alone.
Okay.
Okay.
That comes back to, because what I feel from her is kind of getting hurt enough that it's like, okay, I need to make this a little bit more about me, what I want, not making the other person or the relationship such a focus.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, dear. Well, you have a great evening.
Do you have anything regarding my son at all?
He worries too much. He's very much the person that wants to take on too much, so you have to slow him down. Other than that, I feel like he's okay. I don't feel like there's major problems with him other than him trying to hold control and act like an adult even though he isn't at that status yet.
Yeah. Well, he works full time, and he's actually doing an adult. For being 19, he's acting like an adult. So.
Right, but that's just how he's going to be, honey.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. He's that little man who's going to take care of everything.
Okay.
The thing that watch for him, okay, because that is so important to him. And I also feel like that's a loyalty component with him with regard to family, but also with regard to romantic relationship. I would like to see, of course we don't have any control over who our children do and don't see, but at least to some degree, making sure that he doesn't run into the problem of somebody taking advantage of that, because he'll just work his little finger to the bone.
Okay.
Because of what he believes, okay? What he believes is the right thing to do, what he believes is his role. And he takes that role very seriously.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much.
It was a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
You have a wonderful evening, and thank you for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Wow, that's all that's in line there. Do we have any in the chat? Because this hour is just for readings for you guys, the listening in.
Yeah, and also, if somebody wanted to call in and maybe discuss the topic we talked about tonight, they had a view, opinion, or even an experience, we would love to hear about that too. I'm looking in chat. I don't really see any questions in there. Of course, we do welcome questions. Like I said, just post it up there in the main chat room, and we would be happy to answer those questions. And again, that number is 424-675-6825.
Well, Ray, when we have our next one, which I believe is on, this is when we begin the every other week comp, and it'll be July 10th that we have the show. It's going to be an interesting topic.
As a matter of fact, it is.
Yeah,
or at least
God,
I think it is.
I think it's hilarious. Am I dating a vampire? We're going to be looking at not only the legend of the vampires, but also the modern-day vampires that are not as blood-sucking as they would like to be. And we're going to be really taking a good look at it because since Twilight came out and the later Blade movies, there's a lot of teenagers running around, trying to be modern-day vampires, and it's like, no, you cannot sleep in a coffin. And no, you cannot paint your room black, and you can't drop out of school. I don't care if you don't like the daylight.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I was young, I didn't really like the daylight either, but that's usually because I was staying up half the night.
But we're going to be looking at that and how, it's going to respond.
Right. I think that ought to be an interesting subject. And I think we'll also address is actually, are there real vampires?
We'll be looking at that. Are there? Is it a psychological thing? Or is it, just, middle media?
Uh-huh.
Joan 51, what's your name and birth date, hon? she still with us? Yes.
Yes, she is.
You know, because she's wanting to know, Rain, when she will find a job.
I think she's there.
I think she is too. I'll type it in. You know, this chat thing has always been an interesting one. Now we'll go ahead and we'll drop down to Lise. Lise says, I need a terrific web person to support my project. I told you it was boring, she smiled. Where will I find them and when? I'll answer that one. I feel like you find them in about 3 to 4 weeks. And I feel like you'll find them on like Craigslist or something to that effect, because it looks to be web-based. Okay. Now, Rain, back to your question that you're entertaining in chat. Joan wants to know when she will find a job, and her birth date is 8/16/1960.
Okay. Actually, Joan, here's the energy I get from you. I actually feel like you will be finding a job somewhere between, I feel like it's between the 3rd week of July to the first part of August. So it's between the 3rd week of July, 2nd week of August. This is what I want to encourage you to do. You put out that positive energy of yours. Remember, your strong base is how you present yourself verbally, how you present yourself in writing. You do very, very well on that. You're good at selling yourself. Use that energy, okay? Because once they talk to you, it's pretty much a shoo-in.
Very much so.
At least I think 3 or 4 weeks is too long.
Well, sorry. You said you wanted a terrific web person, not someone to fill the spot.
We just give you what we get, right?
Right. Well, PsychicNights.org is our main website where you guys can poll together and chat throughout the week, and where you post different stuff up there. My blog goes up there. Miss Rainey is going to be putting more stuff up there soon. And a lot of people, like Miranda Tempest, has joined us over there, and I'm sure she'll be advertising her shows, hopefully, in our events section. And, just basic chitter-chat and, keeping up with us all week on things not only we're doing, but things that other people are doing. We've had a lot of people come and join, and we'd love to have you there. It's a social network, just like a bunch of other ones, and it's able to really, you can really get in there and get involved. There's a lot of information that we don't get to put on the air that we do put on the website. But it's fully activated to where everybody can really go in and enjoy. One of my favorite social networks, the Net Cafe, is closing down, and a few people from there have joined me over there. So that'll be some bursts of activities and new ideas, too. So, Ms. Rainey, what are you doing during your off time?
Do I have to tell you?
No.
We're not supposed to be telling people that.
Okay. Fine. You go on vacation. And not tell
I'm
anybody
not going on
where
vacation. I just have some personal things that I have coming up here I'll be taking care of. However, I have been trying to get back into my past life regression counseling again, and have been working with some clients from the UK, so that's been kind of exciting. I've been doing that this week.
Oh, cool.
And so I think that's a wonderful healing modality, one of them, and pretty exciting to get back into it. So I've been kind of trying to get more focus back into that, because I've kind of had to put that off a little bit because of other things. So my goal is to kind of get back on track with that, as well as taking care of, always personal things whenever we get that opportunity, right? And trying to figure out, with this job, we're supposed to be ordering things and having them delivered to our house, but I can't quite figure out why the UPS man or the mail service is not delivering them.
Well,
like,
you know
okay.
what happens with that? Maybe you need to go out and have a conversation with him and, take one of your big crystals and say, if you do not make sure my packages get delivered, you will live in this crystal. You might get your mail delivered more often.
I thought I was going to have to order from Frederick's, but okay.
Freddie's got a question for you again.
Freddie has a question.
Yes, and it's 10/29/1970. They want to know, do you see him getting married again? And if so, when?
Okay, Freddie. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do feel that you will get married again. The energy that I get from this, and this is a little bit different because I think it's a very, very different personality than what you're used to. I do feel like this is somewhere. We don't get exact times here, but I'm getting here within the 5-year mark. Okay, so not to worry, it is going to happen. I actually feel that you will be quite surprised because you're going to be thinking it's not going to happen, it's going to happen. I don't see you being single. Personality is very, very different from what you're used to. Someone who actually is kind of a little bit more in a line with what you like and what you like to do. And I'm talking about in personal time.
Very much so. Well, I don't know, because they're on before I get up, because ASIN doesn't rise before 2 p.m. unless someone's bleeding or dead. And you better be bleeding or dead to wake ASIN. But something interesting, Live with Kelly, who airs here on the East Coast about 9 a.m., I'm guessing 10 a.m., is having their psychic week. So that's been kind of interesting.
Uh-huh. Who's having their psychic week?
Live with Kelly.
Okay.
If you remember, it used to be Live with Regis and Kelly.
Oh,
and
yes.
before that, it was Live with
okay.
Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yeah.
Well, they've been having their psychic week this week, so I think it's kind of interesting. They've had a few notable psychics, although they didn't call us.
I know.
I don't.
And
think
I like Kelly too. She's so fun.
She's so fun, but And
I just think her husband's gorgeous.
Her husband, I remember back from when he was on the show with her, and that was actually kind of funny how that all worked out, because they had their show, they played on their show, and then they became part of their show.
Right.
The marriage became real life instead of just fake life.
Right, exactly.
Today they had Sylvia Brown. Next week they are going to have, Wednesdays they're having the Long Island medium, Teresa Cazzo, and I know I just said her name wrong. Sorry, Long Island medium. And then they're going to have intuitive medium Char to return to live on Thursday.
Uh-huh.
One I'm interested in is on Friday, because I've not heard of this one, and it's the pet psychic Suzanne Fitzpatrick, and I understand that she does some really great work. I've caught a few of her lectures online with pet communication, and she's with the Spirit Now people. I can't remember who owns that network now. I think it's Ask Now or California Psychic, one of those two.
I think they're still related to Ask Now.
Are they still related to Ask Now? Okay.
I still get calls from them.
I can't keep up with these networks, but it's really interesting, that we're now becoming more public media. I think me and you need to go and kick our agent's ass and go, why aren't we getting some of these shows? Although I know my agent will look at me and go, what for? You don't need that crap. Remember you wanted to go to Russia?
Now, here's the thing, okay? Russia. Okay, yeah, I do remember that. But we have to have a talk with David, okay? Because David seems to be the one in charge.
Well, no, David's, my guide is normally definitely in charge. But, and for those that don't know, I was invited to participate in the Psychic Challenge in Russia. And I was all go get it, let's go to Russia. I've, have said many times, I'll go anywhere the gods send me, and if I don't like it, I'll, let them know about it, but I'll at least go there. But, we decided that it wasn't a good deal for Asen to go to Russia, because Asen may not come back from Russia. So, but,
Plus also, there were a few stipulations there that just weren't agreeable to who you were.
Well, no, they did. Yeah, they didn't want me to work for 3 years. Can you imagine that? I'd have clients raging protests outside my office if I didn't work for 3 years.
Yeah.
But
so that's okay. You had the opportunity. Others will be coming.
Oh, very much so.
We are not worried about that.
Well, of course not, because, one of these days we're going to take this from the airways to the TV waves, but that's coming in a few years. But,
So you better get to using that face cream, okay, and the sea salt.
Whatever. I use the sea salt all the time. Face cream, I'm not too much into. Clay mask I enjoy, but that's about as far as I'm getting. I'm just this clear out every 3 to 6 months. Yes, dear.
Here's the question. I do think that somebody was asking about sea salt on the face earlier. Can you mix that in with something and use it on your face?
It's normally already a part of those lovely biomasks or those green masks that you get, that makes you look like a space alien. Anybody that's, on either my Facebook or my partner's Facebook have seen him post pictures of it. It's the scariest thing ever. He looks like an alien come from Mars when he puts the stuff on. Now, I know that face mask already has sea salt in it, so you want to look and see if you see sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is sea salt.
Okay. What if you didn't want to use a face mask and you wanted to create your own?
Well, you can create your own if there's some sea salt in there. Just go make you some mud.
Well, I like to mix honey. Like honey and yogurt, okay? That's good for your skin. Why not throw some sea salt in there?
Honey and yogurt? Are you making a dip?
No, but I like to put different things on my skin.
I know, dear. I've seen your. You got to remember, I've seen your Home Shopping Network skin orders. The woman shops on there like a bargain shopper.
And honey, do I ever. Well, you said to shop at home since I don't have time to leave, so I take advantage.
Yes, but when I said that, I was meaning order new office furniture.
I do that, too.
Okay. Well, we ain't got any calls on the line, so why don't we go ahead? We're going to wrap up early and, let you guys go on about your day. Until then, good night, all.
Good night, all.
Do you have burning questions you need answered? We all do. Visit our website at psychic.biz where you can find accurate psychics, tarot readers, and astrologers from around the world who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can have your questions answered anonymously and right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. The introductory chat is always free, and we offer low per-minute rates and special promotions. Our online psychics offer helpful, practical guidance into what matters most to you. Visit us today at psychic.biz.